Meanwhile, Representative Jeff Van Drew, who's an anti-impeachment Democrat, is now going to switch parties. This demonstrates, again, that these Democrats are not quite as popular on this thing among independents as they say they are. According to the New York Times, Representative Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, a moderate Democrat who is among the party's staunchest opponents of impeaching Trump, told aides on Saturday he plans to switch parties and declare himself a Republican as soon as next week, just as the House is casting its historic votes on articles of impeachment. At a White House meeting on Friday, Van Drew sought Trump's blessing for the move, which could be critical to his ability to avoid a primary challenge next year. The president urged him to make the jump, according to 2 Democrats and 1 Republican, who spoke on the condition of anonymity because the talks were intended to be private. Van Drew has spoken with senior advisors to Trump about announcing his switch at an event at the White House either immediately before or just after the House votes on 2 articles of impeachment, which is expected to happen on Wednesday, according to Republicans and Democrats. Now, typically, when a member of a big political party has switched, that's been big news. You can go all the way back to Jim Jeffords switching parties and thus switching control of the Senate of the United States back in the early 2000s. But this is obviously big news. In the middle of an impeachment hearing, you have a guy who is a blue vote in a red district in New Jersey switching parties because he believes that he's not going to be able to win re-election if he supports the impeachment. The move would provide a silver lining for Trump as he becomes the 3rd president ever to be impeached, according to the New York Times. The decision by Van Drew reflects the heavy political consequences hanging over next week's impeachment vote, particularly for moderate Democrats in districts that supported Trump in 2016. There are about 30 Democrats who are sitting in districts that supported Trump. Republicans are targeting those districts heavily. The impeachment vote could come back to haunt all of those people. Jerry Nadler, for his part, leading the House Judiciary Committee, ripped into Van Drew, saying that the real reason he's not doing this, the real reason he's switching, is not out of principle, it's out of political fear.
What he's reacting to is a public polling that shows he can't get renominated. His electorate in his districts is 24% to renominate him and 60% to nominate somebody else. But more to the point, this is not political. We should not be looking at those things. This is the defense of our democracy. Do we stay a democratic republic, or do we turn into a tyranny?
And what is fascinating here is that members of Van Drew's own constituency, Michael Suleiman, the Atlantic County Democratic chairman, actually wrote a letter to Van Drew. He said, "I'm imploring you to vote in favor of impeachment. A no vote on impeachment will suppress Democratic turnout down ballot, which my organization cannot sustain." In other words, if they try this impeachment and it turns out to come to nothing, that could actually suppress the Democratic efforts to get out the vote. Everybody's so depressed. And it is interesting that Democrats are this early playing the card that they almost expect Trump to win if he's not impeached. That's the only reason that you put out there the preventative message that if Trump is elected, it's illegitimate, because you actually expect that he's going to win. Meanwhile, in the Senate, Chuck Schumer is attempting to militate, but he has no power in the Senate, so it doesn't really matter. Just as this House thing has been run as a sham, the Senate thing will be run as a sham also. The Senate Republicans are going to rush this thing through. Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader, he has no interest in dragging this thing out, and he does not think that the Democrats proved their case in the House. I hope you enjoyed that clip from The Ben Shapiro Show. If you did, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you stay up to date on all of our future content.